Welcome to On the Fence, the show that is about helping you decide whether or not to spend your hard-earned money on the biggest and possibly best releases in mini form. Nick.
Hans.
Today we're looking at Deus Ex. Mankind Divided, that's the one.
Yep, you almost got that wrong, didn't you?
The sequel to Deus Ex, Human Revolution.
You are lost, brother. It looks like you might have taken the wrong turn.
You must be the welcoming committee.
This is a sequel, Nick, yes?
Yes.
How do you feel it builds upon the first game? And does it do it in a good or bad way?
There are good and bad things about this being a sequel. I feel like there are some good new systems, like the idea they've implemented this idea of experimental augmentations to Adam Jensen. So you can activate an experimental augment, but in order to kind of keep your systems in balance, you need to deactivate one of your standard ones. So, for example, you have this thing called the Tesla. It's a more or less a long-range stun gun, but it automatically locks on the target so you can't miss. And in order to activate that, you need to deactivate one of your standard ones, so something like your cloaking ability, something like the ability to mark targets, or something like your lung upgrades so you don't inhale poison gas. And I think those are really smart upgrades and smart ways to build upon the old systems. But I also feel like they've maybe pulled back in some areas. For example, this game mainly takes place in Prague, compared to the previous game where you kind of went all over the place. You were in Detroit, you were in Shanghai, you were in Singapore. Mankind Divided mainly takes place in Prague, with you doing one or two missions at a time in these other places, and never really go back to them.
You and me both. God, sometimes I really hate this city. It used to welcome people like us, go out of its way to entice Augs to live here.
Human Revolution, the prequel, did a great job of setting up the world, creating this world, almost Blade Runner-like world. How do you feel the sequel does in creating this new another world?
I feel like Mankind Divided builds on Human Revolution in smart ways in the story and the world. Human Revolution had 4 different endings, but they're all could technically be considered canon with the way Mankind Divided starts. The only real takeaway from the end of Human Revolution is the Aug incident, where all the people with augments were set to a frequency that caused them to go insane and start attacking people. And 2 years later in Mankind Divided, this is built upon in very smart ways with what they've been calling this mechanical apartheid, with augments having their own section on the trains, their own lines to queue up in for going through checkpoints. And it builds a really nice world, and a lot of the ambient scenes that happen as you walk around different parts, like augments being thrown up against walls and attacked by the police, sets up a really good tone, and it gets across that feel very well. My only issue comes from, I think, the way they threw around the word apartheid was maybe in a bit poor taste. Barring that, in the game itself, they never really called it an apartheid, it was just in the marketing, but in the game itself, I think it worked very well. And a lot of the issues you see around Prague, even down to those ambience events I was talking about, or even just small pieces of graffiti you see, it builds a very well realized world.
This area is restricted to civilians.
I'm with Task Force 29. Thought maybe I could take a look around.
You thought wrong. This is a local investigation. You task force guys can go swing your dick someplace else.
This game, inverted, perverted question marks.
Perverted question
Perverted
mark?
question mark.
Question marks coming from you rubbing you.
Claims to be play it your way. Meaning you can kind of go in stealthy, or you can kind of do a mix of both stealthy and guns blazing, or just go balls to the wall, guns blazing, John Woo style. Does it live up to this claim?
It does, and I feel like, I feel this is also partially the way that the experimental augments really play into it. So, say I play a stealth game where I'm going to try and not be seen, not at all. Obviously, there are some augments that go towards maybe I'm going to get seen, and here's how I'm going to react. So maybe if I'm going stealth, I take a lot of the stealth experimental augments, and say, no, I'll disable some of the health ones, because I'm not going to be seen, so why do I need more health? But say you're going guns blazing, there's a lot of experimental augments that are quite offensive based. Like you get basically a force cannon, or you can start fire, like your nano blades in your arms can actually be shot at people. So then maybe you start taking away some of the stealth ones. You don't need your cloaking, you don't need the ability to see through walls, because fuck it. And I feel like you're a bit more survivable in this game, and you can deal with situations a lot better because of these new options that you have. And so if you're seen, it's not the end of the world like it is in a lot of stealth games.
Nick,
Hans.
if I was on the fence about Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, what would you say to me?
I would say Human Revolution was one of my favourite games of the year it was released. Probably the favourite game of mine that year, and one of my, I'd say, easily top 5 games of the generation. Mankind Divided builds on it in very smart ways and brings a world that is so, like, one of the most interesting game worlds in gaming, in any gaming universe. And I think the way it builds on the story and the way it builds on mechanics is, bar none, probably one of the best ways I've seen in the sequel. And I think if it keeps it up, Mankind Divided could easily be one of the best games of this generation.
So that is Nick's opinion on Deus Ex Mankind Divided. It is currently out on Xbox One, PS4 and the PC, ranging from £40 to £45. Thank you very much, Nick.
No problem.